Yeah, I'm not fond of alcohol myself. It dulls the brain.
I thought you liked Jameson.
Jameson.
I was actually gonna get some Jameson to drink.
Here's the empties for today. Okay. Here's the one that's almost empty. All right.
I actually brought a bottle of Blanton's for you. I'm not sure if you've ever had Blanton's, but it's some of the best.
Had everything under the fucking sun, my friend. But,
that's awesome. Yes. That is awesome. All right, hold on a sec. So, thank you very much for joining us on the Ghost Squawk Experience.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're a huge role model of mine. You know, we have we share similar predilections, and less than half of our girlfriends have tried to kill us.
Really? Well,
yeah.
I think less than half of mine have tried to kill me. So we have something in common.
Definitely something in common.
All
also,
right.
The privacy stuff with. Okay, go ahead and start recording, Jen.
So I'm gonna hit the live record. Do you mind if we start recording right now?
Well, I don't know. Hey, Janice, do you mind if we start right now? What time is it right now? Hit the fucking button. Hit the fucking button.
All right. Okay, so we are now recording live with very special guest John McAfee here. So on the Ghost Squawk Experience, we have a very unique tradition where we bring a drink to commemorate the guests that we have on our show. So today I brought a brew from Late Start Brewing. Very nice gentlemen over here at Late Start Brewing who gave us these free beers to drink on this show. So
beer sponsors.
Yeah, thank you very much to the guys at Late Start.
Two sponsors.
What about you guys? Chase, what'd you bring?
I brought some Blanton's Kentucky bourbon. It's some of the best bourbon you can get around. It's one hell of a drink. I live in Kentucky,
the best bourbon or the best scotch, the best Irish whiskey or the best vodka is the vodka that you don't have to pay for. I'm sorry.
Again, hats off to our sponsors.
Hats off to our sponsors.
Thanks again, Nick, over at Poorhouse Brewery in Tampa.
Yeah, Late Start Brewing over in Tampa. You know, funny story, John. We all we wanted to do with this show was just to get free drinks. Like we never wanted to really like
YouTube stars or anything like that.
Stars.
Yeah.
All we wanted was somebody to just give us free drinks for talking to people. So we've accomplished our goal.
I'm assuming you got no viewers, which is fine with me. I mean, if I could do the same, I would.
Yeah. On that note, I brought the Grolsch. The Grolsch reminds me of some of the crazier times in my life when my stories can't even compare to John's. But hey, I share a kindredship with him because less than half of my girlfriends have tried to kill me. So we're on the same note there.
All right. Well, wonderful. Good.
Wow. There's so many things that I want to ask you about. Specifically with your ghost token projects, because we are Ghost Squawk, and just by chance you have this token that is called Ghost. Would you be able to tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, I mean, as much as I know, which is not very much. Yeah. Okay. So first and foremost, I started the McAfee DEX Distributed Exchange about 5 months ago. It's been running in beta for 5 months now. Why has it been in beta for 5 months? It's the most difficult thing I've ever done technologically. I mean, a true distributed, decentralized exchange. So we actually have one. We started out with just Ethereum. Any idiot can exchange Ethereum for an ERC20, for a DAI, whatever. So that was no big deal. But that's how we started. We added Tron, then Binance, then EOS, and just 4 weeks ago, we added Bitcoin. So now we're actually pretty much ready to go live. I think by mid-July, we'll be live. In the meantime, I developed a privacy coin capable of being exchanged on a distributed exchange. I mean, Monero is, Jesus, one of the best privacy coins ever conceived. But you can't put it on a distributed exchange. Trust me, we have tried. It's a difficult motherfucking blockchain. But in any case, so we developed a Ghost. It's a proof of stake coin. Our mainnet's going live on the 22nd of this month. We did an airdrop for all holders of EtherShare. EtherShare went up by 17,000% in just a week. Then we did a swap, and obviously the EtherShare coins dropped to next to nothing, 20 cents, but the Ghost coin still hanging at $1, and we will exchange, and that current Ghost is an ERC20, which will exchange them for the true Ghost coins when our main net goes live. It's a proof of stake coin. Why did we do that? Because even with Monero, people, you know for a fact, if you have to exchange on a centralized exchange, then governments know where those exchanges are, know who run them, they know the employees, the address. We're kind of fucked. And because governments know how to apply pressure to people, they say, listen, because this is what's going to happen. Trust me, I'm predicting within 2 years, Monero is going to be declared unlawful in almost every country in the world. So will my Ghost token. When that happens, governments will then go to Binance, Coin, whatever, put their thumbs down and say, listen, since if you're doing exchanges with illegal coins, we want to know the names, the addresses of those holders of Monero. Well, you know they have that because it was a centralized exchange because of KYC and AML. You have to give have to give your driver's license, your passport number, your bank information, all this shit. You're fucked. You'll be fucked. But on our exchange, we don't take any information. I built the McAfee DEX, all of the logic in smart contracts on all the blockchains. What does that mean? I mean, first of all, blockchains are an immutable record. We took a big risk. If we fucked up, we'd have a fucked up system forever, but apparently we didn't. Now, I put no AML, no money laundering. We don't ask for your name, your address, your credit card. We don't keep your IP address, nothing. The McAfee DEX is a portal through which you simply move and do your trading and leave. Totally, completely anonymous and private. Now, the SEC has already informed me that I have to put AML and KYC, and unfortunately I can't. I mean, my reply was, I wasn't thinking. I made a big mistake. I forgot all about know your customer and anti-money laundering. And unfortunately, we don't keep any information at all.
Conveniently, right?
Right. So the response is, well, then shut it down. I wish you could. Unfortunately,
well, you can't because it's distributed.
I can't. I'm sorry. I stupidly put it on the blockchain.
You forgot to put the kill switch in there too.
I forgot to do that. I forgot this. I'm sorry. I can't do jack shit. Neither can God himself unless he changes the laws of mathematics for this universe. I'm sorry. So no, can't ever be shut down, people. We keep no information. We charge nothing to list. There's a button on the top of our screen. You want to list a coin? Push it, list your coin. Costs you nothing. We charge no maker fees, only 0.25% of taker fees, and that was supposed to fund development. It never will. I'm sorry, we weren't thinking, but nevertheless, it's there. And it's open source. And the Ghost coin, the source will be released on the 22nd of this month. We told people that it was a fork of PIVX. It's not. Why did I say that? Well, because I didn't want the government or anybody else trying to do an end run and shutting down Ghost before we got up and running. No, we have it's a brand new blockchain, people. It's like something we've never fucking dreamed of, with features that you can't imagine. And this is my gift to the fucking world. Take it or not.
That's incredible. Does your exchange have APIs that we can connect to and run our own programs and connect to platforms with it?
Fuck yes, dude! It's open fucking source. I mean,
all right, perfect.
You may do anything you want with it. You can create your own exchange and call it yours, and by merely copying our source and taking our name out. I don't give a flying fuck. I really don't. Okay.
Nice.
It's open source. It's open source.
So then you'd be open to us kind of taking on because we have Ghost Squawk and you have the Ghost Coin. It's kind of like,
you may do. Let me tell you. Okay, let me tell you my big project. Okay, these are tiny things that I've been working on. My big thing, which is coming out in 2 months, is the Ghost phone. Now, all right.
That's been a project you've been working on for quite a while, hasn't it?
It has been 5 fucking years. You know how hard it is. Now, in the meantime, technology caught up. And I don't know if you guys have heard of or know what software SIMs are. Software SIM. Anybody heard of that?
Yep.
No, it's so disappointing. But anyway, you will. So now, the newer phones like the Samsung S20, any iPhone that's been put out in the past 5 months, the new Google, what the fuck is the name of that phone? Anyway.
Oh, I think I know where you're getting at with this. Are you talking about using SIM-less cell phones?
Yes.
Software-based SIM cards.
Yes. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Yes. Now, why were they invented? Well, to give greater control to Google and others to find out where the fuck you are. Do you understand? Well, unfortunately, they didn't dream of someone like me existing in this world. So I go, let me think this through. I'm using it for the opposite. So we're not building a phone anymore. If you've got a Samsung S20, if you've got a Samsung Fold, the one that the screen folds.
Yeah.
If you've got a Samsung Flip, the new one, any of these phones, we just send you a little barcode. And if you're in America, for example, $9.95 a month, you get 1 gigabyte of data. Now, the way I've done this, by the way, let me explain how we started, is I partnered with an Eastern European country, a large one, that has phone access all over the world through their phone company. Partnered with them. They have created the world's first telephone company-owned virtual private network.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, just for us, for the Ghost phone. So for $9.95 a month, we send you a little barcode. You download the app from Google Play or wherever Apple people get their fucking apps, wherever. I'm not fond of Apple. Scan it. And then you've got a 1 gigabyte for $9.95. As long as you're using data, no power on Earth can locate you. They're not going to know not just what street corner you're on, not what city you're in, not what country.
Not even what country, yeah.
Nothing. Fucking nothing. Now, this may last, I'm giving it 6 to 10 years before governments figure out how to disable it. But well, God damn it, that's going to give us some time for free.
Exactly.
Because what is the biggest problem? Where we are. Everybody knows where you fucking are all the time. Google can locate your ass within 30 feet now when 5G comes within 30 inches. And this is the problem. I mean, governments during the coronavirus plague were talking about software that can track everybody's movements, who they came in contact with, when, and so on. Well, doesn't that scare the shit out of you?
Apple just recently. It should,
but a lot of people don't care.
Apple just recently updated their API for the contract tracing in one of their most recent software updates.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem. If you take a newer Apple phone and you download our app and scan the thing, Apple doesn't know shit about where you are. Nobody does. A&T doesn't know shit. The government doesn't know shit. Google doesn't know shit. Now, I am going to get some flack for this, people. You know this. I would have just made an enemy of Google, Apple, Microsoft.
Not to mention the CIA.
Yeah, well, I've already made enemies of those motherfuckers. I mean, so who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about them? I mean, they have been chasing me. Yeah, they were the ones that got us arrested in the Dominican Republic 8 goddamn months ago after we got booted out of Cuba. Why did we get booted out of Cuba? Because the CIA unofficially went to the Cuban government and said, listen, give us McAfee and we'll give you all kinds of concessions. Well, the Cubans are too fucking smart for that. They need, concessions. What does that mean? Control by the U.S. government. So they grabbed Janice and I, brought us into a military base in Cuba. A general came in, very apologetic. To Miss McAfee, the U.S. government has unofficially, because there's no official channel with Cuba, unofficially requested that we return you to America. However, we are disinclined to do that. But Miss McAfee, I'm afraid now you are a serious problem for us. You have 72 hours to get out of our country and never come back. That was not easy to do. We had our yacht there. Our captain was in Nicaragua.
Wow.
But we got out of there with 16 hours to spare. 4 days at sea. Went to the Dominican Republic. We didn't even get off the boat. We docked and were surrounded by soldiers, arrested. By the way, if you're looking for a jail experience, I do not recommend the Dominican Republic, except for those people who are truly experienced in jails. This is some serious fucking jail time. In any case, we were there only in jail for 4 days, and my lawyers managed to get us out of the country. And they asked where we wanted to go. I said, England. They sent us to England, and we went underground. We've been underground ever since, so no one knows where the fuck we are. Now, one of the reasons this fucking phone, the reason I kept doing it, is because I need it myself. Look behind me. This is a goddamn soundproof room inside a fucking Faraday cage. The only room I can communicate from, because the whole world's looking for me. Now, if my phone, the Ghost phone, were available today, fuck me, I could go down.
You could be doing it at a cafe.
Yes, a cafe, and start doing, because here, no, it's only digital, people. But do you need voice anymore? I'm serious. I mean, didn't the coronavirus teach us one thing? Zoom and Skype.
It taught us that people are complacent.
Well, it also taught us that we don't need fucking telephones. Digitally, we're talking digitally now. I'm not on a goddamn phone. Neither are you. Who cares about not being able to call a phone number and have someone answer? So, the world's going to change, folks. It's going to fucking change. And the CIA and the NSA and world governments and hackers and everybody else has been depending upon the smartphone as their means of locating you, listening to you, watching you.
A lot of research on the coronavirus compliance was done through phone data.
Yes, however, that's going to change when you suddenly realize, listen, if I use voice, I can be located. But if I use Skype or Zoom or Snapchat.
Has anybody actually made a phone call in the past 3 years anyway? It's always over Skype or WhatsApp or something like that.
I did up until we had to throw our phones away 8 months ago. But anyway, nevertheless,
John, can the software from the app actually supersede the hardware in that's
No, nothing can supersede hardware. Hang on, nothing can supersede hardware. I wish it could. It can't. However, hardware is being made more and more open to software all the time. For example, when you turn your phone off, you press that button. Do you think that shuts the power off? Fuck no.
No.
It's a signal to software to do its thing. And what does software do? It uses these software hooks to power down the phone. Everything uses software hooks. But now, you got some hardwired hardware. No, software cannot.
I mean, there's even an Ethernet protocol that you send a specific packet type and it'll turn on the machine.
Yes. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to supersede the hardware. Take the fucking SIM card out of your phone and scan our little scan code. And you don't need voice, and no one will ever find you ever again. Now, to me, what more can I give to the world as a parting fucking gift?
Your final parting fuck you to the world, to the world government.
That's a fucking great gift.
Well, you know what? I've had a fuck you attitude toward authority, not the world, not friends, not fun things, but no, fuck you toward authority.
Yeah.
What is authority? That those are the people to whom we entrust our safety, our security, our futures, our everything, right? The police, the teachers.
There's nothing to worry about here. The TV says everything's fine.
Yeah, right. Where are you guys located, by the way?
So I'm actually out of Tampa, but because of the lockdowns, my fiance, she's in Montreal and she doesn't have the papers to come to US, but I have my residency in Canada. So I actually went back to Canada to be with her because I actually kind of foresaw some, violence and shenanigans, and that sure enough, that's what we're seeing.
So you're in Canada. You're in Canada, smart Correct. Motherfucker. The other two, what part of America are you in, guys?
Oh no, I'm in Montreal as well.
Wait, nobody in America? Okay.
U.S. I'm in Kentucky.
All right, good. Well, you're in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Sure all right. I've heard nothing about Kentucky. Now, are there riots anywhere in Kentucky?
Louisville, yeah.
Anything?
Louisville actually had some stuff going on the other day. I think there were 7 shootings. It's actually strange. The city there has the murder rate's actually surpassing Chicago's now. There's just a lot of crime there, but it's nowhere near where I'm at.
It's all the fucking horses in Kentucky. I really believe horses.
Horse lives matter.
Horse lives matter. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Let me tell you, we formed a bond with the horse in the mid 1800s, and the horse and its rider, especially in the West, were one thing. I mean, think about it. You lost your horse, man. You lost your fucking life. Are you gonna have to hike 800 miles to the next fucking town? No. So, and we somehow formed a bond, a commitment rather than a bond, and we abandoned that fucking commitment. Now what do? We have horses for pleasure, for watching them race. Horses are pissed off, I'm telling you now. We've got more horses per capita in Kentucky than anywhere. I'd move to, if I were you, Virginia or Delaware. Ain't no horses in Delaware.
John, what are your thoughts on everything that's going on right now with all this civil disrest? And I know a lot of these groups are funded by outside sources and seem to be contributing to the problems more than actually trying to solve them.
Well, I think what's contributing to our problems more than anything else is our government is using verbiage like yesterday. I was floored by America's president saying,
martial law.
No, it didn't say martial law. He said, "We will dominate the American cities." Didn't say we're going to cause peace or we're going to bring law. No, dominate was the fucking word. Now, I mean, it is Trump after all, and it's possible because it is a 3-syllable word. Dominate. It's possible that was his word of the day. You got a calendar, learn a new word a day. Today, Tuesday, what's away? Dominate, and it has to pronounce it. And so you got to use it 2 or 3 dozen times in order to remember. So it's possible he was just using the word, but unfortunately, I think not. I think he actually meant the government is going to dominate.
Sure. Don't you think the timing is a little too coincidental? This happening after, 2 months of confinement, when people are going stir crazy anyway, and it's just kind of like the match that.
That's the crazy thing. So. I mean, like people were stuck inside their house without work and no fault of their own.
Well, that along too with the greatest redistribution of wealth that our country's probably ever seen on that.
Was it not $2 trillion got redistributed? What did they do? They created it out of the fucking thin air and then distributed it.
We're a financial...
Distributed it. Yes, to their fucking friends, family, and goddamn neighbors. I mean, Justin's fucking son got $2 million. And that motherfucker paid $4 million for a 2-hour lunch with Warren Buffett. Now, please, God, you tell me that this is not some special interest shit happening.
Anyway,
you ask a question. Shit. You ask, is it not convenient or coincidental? No, I don't believe that this is some vast overarching conspiracy. I think people just didn't think. I mean, you lock people up for 2 fucking months in their house.
What do you
expect them to come out without resentment, anger, frustration? Fuck me. All it took was one little spark, and that spark happened to be the poor gentleman in Minneapolis that we unfortunately got to watch for 8 goddamn minutes. Now, that's all it took, a spark, and suddenly the anger, which is looking for a release. I mean, fortunately, many of us did not shoot our spouses or something else during this, but we still want to shoot something. And then suddenly you've got a reason. I think governments are just too stupid to understand. And why are they stupid? Oh, you're not going to like me, people. It's because I think the great experiment of democracy, which began in America in 1776, might have run its course. Because if you look at what we are electing, are we electing the most brilliant people on the planet? Are we electing people who can solve problems? Or are we electing people who are willing to pay $100 million to get a job paying $300,000?
Yeah.
For what reason? Well, use your common sense. Every congressman in America is a multi-millionaire, provided they've been there more than 4 years. They didn't start out as multi-millionaires, but check it, please God, Google it. Every congressman, every senator.
Sure.
What's up with that?
It's the profligate hypocrisy too. It's like Bernie Sanders telling us, how to live, in socialism and all that, while he has 3 mansions.
But let me give you an alternative, because the alternative is what is the reality under which you're living, whether you like it or not. Let's look at the CIA. The CIA is a lifelong career. I mean, you don't join the CIA, work 4 years, and quit. No, that doesn't happen. I mean, you can quit, but they will whack you immediately because you know too much. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. No, it's a lifetime job. There are CIA employees who can speak 35 languages fluently. People who understand the nuances of international relations, political alliances, religion, culture, history, everything. And what do our fucking presidents know? They know how to take money from your pocket, put it into theirs. They know how to campaign. They know how to lie. They know how to disseminate false information. Please, people, please. And you expect our fucking world to improve by actually voting for someone paying $100 goddamn million for the job? No, we, people, are the fools. We are the idiots. We have not thought this through. Do you understand our first president, George Washington, had to be drugged, kicking and screaming into that office? Why? God damn it, he was the general of the Continental Army. Fuck me. The most powerful man in America as a general. Slipped in ditches, got dysentery, lost a fucking toe to frostbite. Jesus God. He didn't want the presidency. He wanted to fish on his farm on the Potomac River. And I understand the fishing on the Potomac back then was fucking outrageous. But no, they wouldn't let him. Why? Because everybody involved sat him down and said, George, who the fuck? Who the fuck if not you? What, me, Ben Franklin? I just drink and chase women.
I was going to say, Ben Franklin's another huge political figure, one of my favorite guys on the favorite human beings in history.
But seriously, he knew enough to know, I can't be president.
It's a smart motherfucker.
Fuck me. There's not enough bedrooms in the White House to fit all the chicks that I fuck daily. So no, can't be him. Thomas Jefferson.
Cheers to Ben Franklin.
Jefferson couldn't find his fucking glasses. Right. And John Hancock, yeah, the dude had a fucking awesome signature, but nothing else. So play. It had to be George. It had to be. So they shamed him into taking the job, and goddamn, he did good. The last president that did not want to be president was Dwight Eisenhower, who left office in 1960, one of the greatest of American presidents. And what did he do when he left off? By the way, same thing. He'd been the Allied commander during the Second World War, commanded the troops of half of the world, and they offered him the presidency of his country. Fuck that shit. No, he didn't want it. He was also old. He goes, I've been shot at. I have been without sleep. I have suffered more than you can imagine. Do not ask this of me. But they shamed him. Who was there at that fucking time? It's a pretty chaotic time for America, people. Bunch of opportunists everywhere. So he took the job. When he left office in 1960, he warned America of two things: the CIA and the military-industrial complex, saying that these...
As did Kennedy, and look what happened to him.
Let me tell you. Let me finish the story because it's telling. So he warned the CIA and military-industrial complex and said that if we do nothing, they will steal the Constitution and every American freedom. We did nothing. Kennedy came in next up, and he goes, not long into his office, I'm going to dismantle the CIA, not going to fire anybody. I'm going to take all the employees and I'm going to put them into all the other agencies we have, because there are 13 covert fucking agencies: the Secret Service, the NSA, the Air Force covert agencies, Army, Marine, Navy. No, fuck me, they're all over the place. And we're going to partition it out. 31 days later, he met with an accident.
Also, there was the Order 11110, right? Where he was going to take power away from the Federal Reserve. So you basically pissed off two of the most powerful organizations
people in the world, and he just disappeared. Now, a few years later, his brother Bobby ran for president, and it was pretty clear he was going to goddamn win. And what was his campaign all about? Dismantling the covert agencies of America. Now, what happened to him? They didn't let him get to be president. They had shot his sorry ass a month later on a campaign, on the campaign trail. Now, that was the last time anybody has gone up against those two powers. This is the problem, people. The country is not what you think it is. Democracy does not exist anymore, and whoever you elect as president, they're powerless. You think Donald Trump has power? Please God, he does not. He is a puppet with 1,000 strings.
What I always tell people is that, okay, you think Obama was any different from Mitt Romney or going back as far as you could go. Just it's public. You can see their campaign donors, right? And you notice they're all their donors are the same people, different amounts, but the same fucking people, right? Because they don't really care who gets in.
No, they don't. And also, any of those who have enough awareness to observe elections, have you ever had a single hair on your head wafted by the awesome exchange of power when a new president is elected? No. Doesn't mean jack shit, people. And even if presidents work hard to make change, like Obama with Obamacare, we all knew, why bother? They're going to dismantle it, which they did. Nothing changes because it's not in the interest of the military-industrial complex.
We've all been fed the false narrative, right, of a false dichotomy. Okay, so it's basically for as long as I've been alive, you're always choosing between the lesser of two evils. I remember even when I was a child, my parents were discussing politics. It wasn't, oh, we believe in this guy. It's, well, this guy can't get in because we're all fucked if he does. And it's been like that forever and ever. It's just getting worse.
False dichotomy. I'd like to flatter you a bit on the use of a three-syllable word, dichotomy, which I have not heard in 2 weeks. So it's a good word, dichotomy. A false dichotomy.
Cheers to false dichotomy.
Cheers to big words.
maybe that'll be Trump's word tomorrow. Because I'm pretty sure his word yesterday was
dominate.
We are going to dominate. Another 3-syllable word. He doesn't use many of them. He doesn't like 3-syllable words. I've only seen him use 1 4-syllable word. And that was incorrect.
I find that he likes to use one word and stretch it out. Like huge.
China.
Well, that's because hang on. He hangs out with intelligent people like Peter, who use 5-syllable words, and it takes longer to say Unabhängigkeitskrieg than it does to say huge. And so Donald, feeling inferior, goes, "Oh, let me show you something huge." Right? You think you can use big words? How about that?
A long word.
Gentlemen, we have time for one more question. We're over time.
So I got this. Somebody's microphone is there. We go. So my background is fairly similar to yours in the sense that I was from physics and math. I worked really hard to start this company that we have. We're doing natural language processing applied to the headlines. We're teaching people about finance. Do you have any advice for young entrepreneurs like ourselves to succeed? Or are we just fucked?
Why do you people always come up with serious fucking questions?
Oh, okay. I'll give you another one. What sidearm are you rocking?
No. Come on. This is a serious question. It's a good one. It needs a serious answer. Whoa. First and foremost, very few successful businesses started with a plan. Very few. Certainly.
We call that the DC way. We just wing it. We call it do shit till it works.
That's fine. But yeah, okay, because what works is opportunism. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. I mean, a smart person with a very clear head watching carefully everything that crosses his attention. In my case, I was just working for Lockheed, and my brother-in-law in San Jose read me a little article on the back page of the San Jose Mercury News in August of 1987 saying, "Hey, listen to this. There's this new thing called computer virus." And I go, "What?" I grabbed the paper, read the article. No one had ever used the word computer virus before, other than
John von Neumann. John von Neumann.
Did he?
Yeah, he wrote about it. Yes.
Well, see, I'm unaware of that, but certainly we'd never seen one until 1987 when 2 brothers in Pakistan wrote a thing called the Pakistani brain, and they called it computer virus. It's inside the virus, the text. So I got a copy from a friend at Stanford the next day, disassembled it, and I was awestruck. The world's first artificial intelligence, really, because what are viruses? They're artificial intelligence. What are they? Living things. They have goals. Number 1, hide, survive, multiply,
exactly.
And most of them, while you're at it, want to do some damage like real viruses. Okay, so and that was it. I'm thinking, fuck me, and that was the beginning of McAfee. I had no idea they fucking existed. So anyway, though, so the next day I got the copy on a Tuesday, wrote a program on Wednesday to find it, to detect it, kill it, and put your system back together. Put it up on my bulletin board system. We did not have the internet back then. I had the largest bulletin board system in Silicon Valley called Homebase. Homebase had 32 fucking phone lines coming in. And a month later, I had $10 million in the bank, and I don't know how that happened. It was an opportunistic thing that I took advantage of. And then 12 years later, it was sold to Intel for $8 billion. So that wasn't planned, people. And didn't Bill Gates planned Microsoft? Fuck no. He was playing around with operating systems for the 8080, the Intel 8080. There were 2 people doing it. There was a company in Southern California in San Diego called Digital Research. And there was another company in Seattle called Microsoft. Microsoft was just 2 kids. Digital Research actually had about 10 fucking employees. IBM decided to create the world's first open architecture personal computer, which they did. But IBM is a great hardware manufacturer and a piss poor software manufacturer, so they went shopping for their operating system. They first went to Digital Research in San Diego. This is on a Friday. I knew both of these motherfuckers. I knew Bill Gates. I knew the Digital Research crowd. So they went to Digital Research on a Friday morning and presented the crew with an opportunity. Listen, we're going to give you jack shit for your operating system. However, we're going to open up our architecture, and which will mean that you will own the operating systems for the largest personal computer in the world. And the Digital Research people go, well, we got to get our lawyers on this. And I said, we don't have time. They packed up, went up to see Bill Gates, gave him the same offer, and he said, where do I sign? Do you think he planned that? Fuck me. Had his competitors signed, Bill Gates would have been a footnote in history. Some young kid that failed at his first business opportunity. He may have gone on to build something else. I don't know if I can know, but no. That was an opportunity. There are no successful people in the fucking world who got there from a fucking plan. So this is my advice. If you've got a plan, piss on it and get something else.
Nice.
All right?
Well, that's why we do
Thank
shit
you
the
very
DC
much.
way.
So, thanks, John. Really appreciate
thank
your
you
time.
very much,
John.
John, for coming on to the Ghost Squawk Experience. Thank you very much for Miss Janice for hooking us up. And
Thank you, Miss Janice.
Shout
You're
outs to Rude
welcome.
Boy V. Rude Boy V on Twitter for getting us in contact with McAfee's team. Very much appreciate.
right.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thank you there. Bye-bye.
All right.
Have a
Take
great
care.
one.
All right.